Good day, and thank you for tuning in 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast. For all of our new listeners and viewers who are tuning in for the very first time, I'm Pastor Pope, and thank you for allowing us to come into your listening and viewing environment. We are here with you in 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast, every Monday through Friday, scheduling permitted, broadcasting live from the FijiWater.com sponsored studio, where you can discuss careers, finances, entrepreneurship. You can discuss marriage, divorce, raising children, blending families. You can discuss dating and relationships. Whatever's in your heart, whatever's on your mind, God is concerned about that which concerns you. And that is the reason that we are here with you in 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast. Pardon me, I'm getting a little feedback, but we seem to have gotten that corrected. So welcome to all who have tuned in wherever you are across the U.S. and wherever you are around the globe. We thank you for tuning in 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast, which is brought to you daily by Fiji Water, Earth's finest water. You may already know that Fiji water comes from Fiji. However, did you know that it is created by nature, it is untouched by man? It starts as a tropical rainfall which slowly filters through layers of volcanic rock, where the water collects in a natural, sustainable artesian aquifer, where it is bottled right at the source, free from human contact until you unscrew the blue cap. Fiji Water, Earth's finest water, will be delivered right to your front door when you subscribe for delivery, and you will save money at FijiWater.com. This is not just ordinary water. This is Earth's finest water at FijiWater.com. And for those of you who continue giving on the give segment, on the contribution pages of our websites at NewLifeMinistriesInternational.com, NewLifeInternationalCDC.com, and those of you that use the QR code or the link provided on Facebook and YouTube, we thank all of you. And those of you that are now using Zelle on the T-Mobile caller text line at 267-992-1424. We thank all of you for your support and for your commitment and your giving as we fulfill our commitment to God to be here for you in 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast. So I want to remind everyone, as you know, we're on the air scheduling permitted because there are so many great things happening at our complex at New Life Christian Center, 400 Hillcrest Avenue, Wilmington, Delaware, 19809. So most of you know we have been supporting a food pantry, providing food for emergency cases. We have expanded our food pantry. So we are available for giving to those who are in need through our food pantry. You can call to find out the details when the food pantry is open. If you just call it or text the T-Mobile caller text line at 267-992-1424, we will make certain that you and anyone you know that is in need of food. We have plenty of food to distribute, and it's been a busy time. It has taken on a life of its own, but we're excited about being able to serve and to help those who are in need. So feel free to reach out, call or text the T-Mobile caller text line. We will provide you with information on how you can the scheduled dates to come and pick up food. We do it every week, so we're available if you are in need. And we want to just let you know, not only will we continue praying for you, but we want to serve our community. And I will say, God has been so good. We've been doing such a great work, and I'm thankful. And of course, if you're in our area, we invite you to come and worship with us every Sunday morning at 10 a.m. I do want to say this. We are continuing our FijiWater.com sponsor promo. So all you have to do is go to our internet radio station, WKAPFaith.com. The first 3 songs you hear at 11 a.m. or at 6 p.m., list those songs, text them along with your name and your email address to the T-Mobile caller text line at 267-992-1424. One of our listeners and viewers will be selected to receive a case of Earth's Finest Water from FijiWater.com. Go to our internet radio station, WKAPFaith.com. The first 3 songs you hear at 11 a.m. or 6 p.m. List them along with your name and your email address. One of our listeners and viewers will be selected to receive a case of Earth's Finest Water from FijiWater.com. So I'm going to address a communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers who indicated that you do not have children of your own. You said, however, you have nieces and nephews. You said the problem is that none of your nieces and nephews reach out to you, and nor do they respond to your communications. So I'm going to address that because you said you don't know why that is occurring, and you are feeling some kind of way. That was your expression. So you're feeling left out. But here's what you've got to understand. Before you can inspire anyone else to treat you the way you desire to be treated, you have to examine yourself. So there's a couple of components that can be addressed by this. And that is, one, if there's something that people are doing to you unfairly, you have to teach people how to treat you. That's a fact. But the other component is, if you are not examining yourself to find out what is the problem with you. See, it'd be different if you were telling me one of your nieces or one of your nephews, but you said all of your nieces and nephews don't respond to you, they don't communicate with you. You could let yourself off easy by saying they're millennials, they're young, they don't respond, but that's not true, because they respond to their friends. They text more than they call, but because of that generation, because everything is a technology component for them. But the reality is, you've got to examine yourself. What have you done or said over the years that has led them to now, as young adults and adults, not really want to deal with you, not really want to respond to you, not really want to communicate with you? You've got to ask yourself, what are you doing? Because the goal for all of us is to become the best version of ourselves that we can become. So you've got to ask yourself, what is it that you're doing wrong? What is it about your personality that does not inspire them to respond to you? What is it about your personality or communication that doesn't inspire them to communicate with you? We always have to examine ourselves. So I'll take you here because the scripture clearly says this. Let a man, meaning man or woman, mankind, examine himself. We really have to constantly examine ourselves. And I'm not saying beat yourself up when you're living to do the right things. I'm saying that we constantly have to examine ourselves. So, I encourage everyone, because at New Life Christian Center, one of the things we do every month, and I know there are churches who do it more frequently, there are churches who do it on the same monthly pattern that we do. We have Holy Communion. But I don't just use Holy Communion as a time to, examine whether or not we're worthy of taking communion. What I encourage everyone to do is examine, first of all, their relationship with the Lord. Second of all, what you are doing for the Lord. And lastly, examine yourself to determine whether you can be better. What can I do differently? How can I handle people in a way that, first of all, they won't mind reaching out to me. They won't mind if I reach out to them. They'll respond when I reach out. They'll communicate if I communicate. You've got to constantly be looking at that component. We got to constantly be examining ourselves. So I use Holy Communion as a way for us to examine ourselves every month. You don't have time to examine yourself every day. You are really performing every day. And that's the reason we do communion. A lot of churches do it the first Sunday of the month. We do ours the last Sunday of the month. Because you're close enough to the end of the month that you can make changes, unless it's the last day, that you can make changes on what you are doing. But you got to look at what you've done all month. What have I done to be better all month? What have I done to improve myself all month? What have I done to really have an impact on myself, to be a better version of me, of what God has created? What can I do to maximize his creation? What can I do to appear in his image and in his likeness? What can I do to be better? Not what is the reason they're not communicating, because the reason may just be simply you. And that's why we want to examine ourselves. That's why we want to make certain, and so I said that about Holy Communion. We had Holy Communion last Sunday, and I always like to use that moment as a time, and then when I'm done preaching on Sunday, I go home and I pray, and I read my scripture, and I really think about what I've done all month long to maximize my performance, maximize my success, enter into the fullness of God. What's my relationship? What have I done to improve my relationship with the Lord? That's really what I do with Holy Communion. It's really let us examine ourselves. And it's the same thing we should be doing with our everyday lives. We should be examining what we've done to be better. So what you're dealing with right now is the results of how you've communicated with people in the past, your nieces and nephews. What you said or didn't say that required them to want to keep their distance. What did you do that required them to feel the necessity to keep their distance? You got to think about those things. And then you have to decide what you want to change. Because you can't change them. What you can do is change you that will allow them to want to interact, and perhaps even more frequently. So it all begins with you. And I'm saying that so that all of our listeners and viewers can understand that there are people in our lives who may be keeping their distance from us, not because of them, but because of us, because of ourselves. And we have work to do on ourselves. And we need to do that work. And if we don't do the work, then we can't expect things to change. And what we want is change to be progress. We want change to make progress in our lives. And so I will encourage you to do just that. Examine yourself, make the necessary changes, and hopefully you'll be able to improve your relationship with your nieces and your nephews. This segment of the broadcast is brought to you by T-Mobile, America's largest, fastest, and most reliable 5G provider at no extra charge. If you are not currently a T-Mobile customer, you may call or text on the T-Mobile call or text line at 267-992-1424. We will move you into our queue so that you may have the opportunity to become a T-Mobile customer and experience America's largest, fastest, and most reliable 5G provider at no extra charge. Taxes and fees are included in your bill, and if you auto pay by attaching a credit card to your account, you will receive a discount on your monthly bill at T-Mobile, America's largest, fastest, and most reliable 5G provider at no extra charge. I'm going to address another communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers. However, before I do, this segment of the broadcast is going to be brought to you by PorscheAmerica.com. So if you are in the market for a new or previously owned high-performance automobile, one of the finest automobiles, high-performance automobiles ever manufactured. Go to PorscheAmerica.com. You will find new Porsches that you can virtually build out on PorscheAmerica.com. And if you're in our area, you can simply go to PorscheDelaware.com, ask to speak to Mike Didio, who is the general manager at PorscheDelaware.com. He will have someone assist you in selecting the Porsche you desire to own, whether it is new or previously owned. And if you currently own a Porsche and you're just in need of service, go to PorscheDelaware.com. Ask to speak to Mike Adams, who is the service manager at PorscheDelaware.com. He will have someone schedule an appointment for you. They will pick up your vehicle at your home or office. They will provide a loaner vehicle to you and return your vehicle to you when your service has been completed at PorscheDelaware.com. I'm going to address another communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers who indicated that you agreed to go on a date with someone who after dinner expected you to pay for half the bill. You said he told you because you're not in a relationship, it is not his responsibility to pay for the entire bill. So he wanted you to pay for half the bill. So first of all, let me say this. I'm gonna say this to all the ladies out there because I'm about to give the men a lecture. But first of all, I'm gonna say to the ladies, this is the problem with asking men to take you out to a high-end 5-star restaurant who have not progressed from boys to men. So you really didn't agree to go on a date with a man, you agreed to go on a date with a young man at best, and perhaps even still a boy. Because a man wouldn't do what he did. So for all you ladies, be real careful what you ask for, because you just might get it. You go to a high-end restaurant, the check's $300, $400, they're gonna ask you to pay $150 to $200 of it. And that's not what a man does. That's what a boy does. You might stretch it and say it's a young man, but he's really still a boy. And the reason is because he hasn't matured enough to understand that, first of all, men don't do that. We ask a woman out on a date. You do that with the ability to pay wherever you take her for the entire bill. Pay for the entire bill wherever you take her. For all of us males out there, stop asking women or telling women you will take them out on a date and then not pay for the date. Because you're not representing what men do. You're still trying to get from boys to men. If you can't afford to take a woman out to dinner, you shouldn't be taking out to dinner. Now, I'm going to tell you this, and I've said this to our listeners and viewers before. I'm going to say it again because we're obviously not doing this the right way. You shouldn't even ask a woman out to dinner anymore, because I've given everyone the revelation of God. Take them to church and out to lunch. If a woman doesn't want to go to church and out to lunch with you, she's eliminated herself from being in your presence, from even pursuing her any further, because first of all, she's not looking to enhance her relationship with the Lord. And second of all, she's never going to follow you. If she refuses to go to church and to lunch with you, she's never going to follow you as you follow God. Stop asking women to go out on dates because you think they're cute, you think they're fine, you think that they're all that and a bag of chips and a drink. You they're a combo meal. None of that. When you get to the point, church for 3 Sundays consecutively and out to lunch. Have the necessary conversations to know whether or not this is someone you can build a great quality of life with. That's the first thing. The second thing is, after you have taken them to church and out to lunch 3 times, you'll know if this is someone you want to pursue a relationship with. And if you're going to pursue a relationship with them, then it's your obligation to pay the bill. That's what men do. We pay the bill. So don't take women out to a 5-star restaurant just because they want to go. No, that comes later. That comes when you've decided this is someone you're going to build a relationship with. That comes later when you decide this is someone who I can potentially make my wife. That's someone who you're already in a relationship with, or someone who is your wife. That's when you take them out and you're not concerned about how much it's going to cost you to enjoy dinner with your significant other, your spouse. If you're not in a relationship, why are you doing that? If you're not interested in pursuing a long-term relationship, why would you take them out to a 5-star restaurant just because they want to go? And then you want to ask them to pay half the bill. No. It's not what men do. In business, we must be men. And that is a business. You're taking them to someone's place of business or some corporation's place of business. And in business, we must be men. And so for all you men out there, you shouldn't ask anyone to go out on a date and not expect to pay for it. When you take them to church and out to lunch, you pay for the check. When you take them to church and out to lunch, you pay for the check. When you take them to church and out to lunch, that's the 3rd time you pay the check. And from then on, you should be paying the check. It is never their responsibility to pick up the check. If you take them to church the first time and out to lunch, and you find that there is nothing further that you need to know about that person, whether or not you want to pursue a relationship with them, stop right there. You don't have to take them any further. But you should determine by 3 Sundays, 3 consecutive Sundays, whether or not this is someone you're going to pursue a relationship with. And then you can take them out all you want to take them out and make sure that you pick up the check. And ladies, stop going out with men who are not going to pick up the check. Because those are not men, those are boys. You're robbing the cradle. They're not prepared to get weaned off their mother. Stop trying to fit a square peg into a round hole. Because you're going to get stuck with half the bill. Because men are doing that now. Men are sick and tired of women not wanting to have anything permanent. Because that's a new thing. Everybody's doing what they want to do. Everyone's back to doing what they want to do their own way and not following the way of God. I had a conversation this morning with a administrator at one of our Achievers Academy, and we were talking about the deterioration of our society. We need to get back to the basics. We need to get back to the basic fundamentals of what this country was really designed to do, not what man did to mess it up. You know, we need to get back to the basics of fundamental relationships, marriage, and building strong families. So the conversation was about the deterioration of the family. We've got to really fix this thing because our society is damaged. And these are the results that you're seeing. You know, men taking women out, you know, not wanting to pick up the bill, men not behaving as men. And ladies, you don't want a man who is going to live life like a boy, because he's immature. He's not going to build a strong not lay a strong foundation. He's not going to build on that foundation. He's just going to be a boy. He's going to want to play with toys, and you become a toy to him. So let's make certain that we are clear on what we're dealing with. Any man who doesn't want to pick up the check is not a man. He's a boy. And you don't need a boy. You need a man. You need a man who's going to be a man. And so I want to say to you, no, that's not acceptable. So don't believe that it's acceptable. Don't let anybody convince you that it's acceptable, because it's not. Not for a real man. This segment of the broadcast is brought to you by Charles Tyrwhitt, located in London, the UK. They also have stores in New York, Chicago, Washington, D.C., and at the King of Prussia Mall in King of Prussia, Pennsylvania. So if you're in any of our areas, any of those areas, stop in at the retail stores. They have everything a man could possibly need. Shirts for men, ties for men, suits for men, and accessories. And right now, if you order 3 shirts from Charles Tyrwhitt, you will receive 3 high-quality cotton shirts for a price of $99. That's a $248 savings at Charles Tyrwhitt at ctshirts.com. And if you're not in any of those areas, order from ctshirts.com. They will ship and deliver right to your front door in an appropriate period of time. And The White Company, located in London, the UK. They also have a store on Fifth Avenue in New York. So if you're in New York, stop in at the retail store. They have everything that you could possibly need: home goods, clothing for men, women, and children at The White Company. If you are not in New York, you can order from The White Company at thewhitecompany.com. They too will ship and deliver right to your front door in an appropriate period of time. I'm going to address another communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers who indicated you and your sister decided to live together after both of you graduated from college. You said, however, you have now realized that you have very different lifestyles and it is becoming more difficult. So you indicated in your communication that your sister is not the most organized person. She is very much a partier. You are not. She is still trying to live like she was in college. You're not trying to live that way. You're trying to live an adult life. So here's the problem. But you're afraid that, neither of you are going to be able to afford the lifestyles you want to live if you don't remain roommates. But here's the reality. You're adults now. The problem is, and you acknowledged you're a millennial. The problem is millennials want to live like they lived when they were in college. They want to be able to spend their money on doing things that they want to do instead of spending their money on building a great quality of life. The two of you have lived together for a while now, and you've realized that it's not working. So what you want to do now is look at when your lease comes to an end, and then tell your sister, listen, we've lived together long enough. It's time for us to be mature adults. If she wants to get another roommate, let it be her choice. But you can afford to live on your own. The problem is you all have issues with being alone. You have issues with having alone time. There's a lot of moving parts and emotional issues for millennials. But it's time to grow. It's time to go. It's time to go move forward. Develop a relationship with the Lord, because in Him you live and move and have your being. It's time for you to make that change, because you're ready. She's just not. She wants to party, live the college life she was living when she was in college. She wants to be a partier. She wants to hang out. That's her life. That's what she chooses to do. But that's not where you are anymore. So it's time for you to go and grow and continue moving forward. You'll love your sister, but you can't allow the way she wants to live to become your life, because that's not who you are. Today's Daily Divine Direction Broadcast 3D has been brought to you by Fiji Water. A taste of paradise will be delivered right to your front door when you subscribe for delivery, and you'll save money.